Hey guys, how you doing? It's Andy Elliott. Check this out. Today I'm going to talk about some objections that are differently than the objections we normally talk about, like the price is too high, the payment's too high, I'll get back with you, I want more for my trade, I need to think about it. Those are the objections that we normally think about when we think about objections. These objections, these 9, are going to be the objections that, especially if you're a beginner out there and a beginner in sales in the first year, I'll just say this for everybody, even veterans, that people, they underestimate handling and overcoming these objections the right way, because if you don't, these specific 9 will prevent you from closing the sale. So stay with me, and then as we go through this, guys, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up, all right? And then I want you to write this down. If you have a little notebook or something, think about some of these things that maybe you're having issues with, and I'll show you how to overcome them and get past them, all right? So the first one I'm going to talk about of the 9 objections is going to be the unspoken objection. Now, if you're new in sales, again, a lot of the times customers have an unspoken objection that normally they don't bring up. And it's your job to understand and to learn people knowledge versus product knowledge. So people knowledge is the #1 selling tool in this business. Understanding the psychology of selling is everything when it comes to selling. So the unspoken objection is like the most important objection because it's the one that the customer actually won't surface, but you have to identify it by, and what I mean by identify it is, okay, so if this customer just maybe has left 2 other dealerships and they hate the way that they've been treated. They hate salespeople. They hate the way that they've been talked to. Maybe they didn't like the deal they got. Maybe they just hated the fact that they owe $8,000 more on their trade, and the way that everyone has handled it with them, it just hasn't gotten handled the right way with them. So that's an unspoken objection. You have to let them talk. This is probably one of my favorite things is shut up. Let the customer talk. And when the customers talk, they'll tell you exactly how to sell them. So what happens is, as the customer talks, you can learn what objections might come up and actually pre-handle them so they don't come up later. And your customers will actually tell you exactly how to sell them. So that's the first objection, the unspoken objection. You have to be great at people knowledge, not product knowledge, okay? So, excuses. This right here is the second one. It's the natural hesitation, okay? So I'm just going to tell you this. If I'm going to Burlington Coat Factory, right, and let's just say I'm going to get me a coat, and I walk in, and the lady at the front, she's standing there, and she's like, hey, can I help you? And I'm like, no, I'm just looking. See, I know where I'm going, and I know what I'm doing, but the deal is that natural hesitation for me is to not want to deal with the salesman. So that's an objection, but it's a natural hesitation, okay? So if a customer comes on the lot and they say, hey, how you doing? I'm like, hey, my name's Andy, how can I help you? Are you here to see someone? It's a beautiful day, nice to meet you and your family. And I'm kind of going through the meet and greet, and they say, well, listen, I just want to tell you, we're not buying anything today. Well, that's the turning point for most salesmen. You got this guy on this side that says, okay, cool, look, and this is normally your veterans. If you're just looking, hey, walk around the lot, and if you need something, here's my business card, I'll be over here, holler at me. Okay, and then you got the second guy, he says, hey, I'm just looking, and he's like, hey, I bet if I made you a good enough deal, you'd buy today, right? Right? Surely your time's important to you. If you got out of the house, you're probably wanting to buy something, the deal just has to be right? And that guy immediately starts going into that. So they play off that objection where the great salesman understands that, look, that right there was just hesitation. They're scared to show you that they really want to buy something. But they know they can scare you off with that. So it's like, hey, I'm just looking. I'm not going to buy anything today. It's like, hey, you're actually my favorite customer. My easiest job is actually when somebody doesn't have to buy today. And then if you decide to, that's fine. That's fair, right? That right there is how you handle it. And now there's not an objection, and I handled it and we've put it to bed, okay? Let's talk about the third one. This is the malicious objection. I call this taking it out on the salesman. Guys, how many people out there in the world hate salespeople? A lot of them. You know why? Because they hate that you make 5 times more than them. That's why. And honestly, everybody in the world is a salesman, okay? If you're a janitor of a job, do you have to sell yourself to get the job for the janitor position? Yeah, so you're selling. You see, people hate to come to terms with everything in life that we do is selling. Okay, if your kids are up at night and you want them to go to bed, right? And you say, guys, you need to go to bed. And they're like, no, we're not tired. Okay, you either sell them to go to bed or you don't and you have a grind. But if you're better at selling, isn't that easier? So do you understand that being great at selling makes your life a lot easier? Because everybody has to sell to get through life. It's part of what we do. People that sell, like I said, on the average earn 5 times more than the normal person. So I want you to understand this. Taking it out on the salesman, I don't know why, but when there's an objection and somebody's being rough to you, guess what happens? Be kind, be polite, be loving. Never mirror image them. Make them mirror image you. Okay? All right. Now, fourth of all here, we're going to go to request for information. All right. This right here is that customer that pulls the sneakiest thing out there. What they do is they say, hey, we're just here to get some information. We're just here to get some information. You know why they say that? Because again, that's like, hey, we're just looking. That's just another way to scare you off and to show you that they really want to buy something. It's just that they know that most of the time salesmen quit when they hit you with the, I need to have a request for some information, objection, okay? So I want you to understand this. That is a smoke screen to get you not to give them your best. Do you think they want you to give them your best and close them down? No ways. So I want you to understand that. That's a smoke screen. That's a request for information. That's an objection that a lot of people get tied up in, and they're like, man, these people just want a brochure here. Man, they're just driving by and they're looking for a Kia Optima, or they're looking at a Kia Optima. These people drove by, they want to see the new Cadenza that just came out. They want to see the new Hyundai, the new BMW, the new Mercedes. They're just looking around. They just want some information. Dude, what are you talking about? They're a buyer. Don't fall for that objection, okay? They just don't want you to give them their best. Give them your best and close them. That's why we're there, okay? Don't fall for that objection. All right, show off objection. All right, you know this guy. You know the guy that's a show off, right? It's like as you're showing him something, he's like, I know all about this. I know all about this. I know all about this. Guess what? You've got to feed into that guy and be like, oh my gosh, wow. Like, I didn't know you knew so much about this car. That's amazing. Would you tell me a little bit more about it? Yeah. Oh my gosh, man. Like I see why this car is for you. You know everything about it. That's exactly what I want you to do. When you get that show-off objection and that guy does that, a lot of people start doing this because they're like, who does this guy think he is? No. Wow. Amazing. Wow. I didn't know you knew so much. Let them talk. Let him get it out. Then close them. Okay? Personal objection. This is you're talking too much. You need to stop and listen. This is when somebody has a personal issue with you. Okay? This is where actually you're the problem. Now you can do something here, right? When this happens, you look at yourself and you're like, man, this customer is just not getting along with me. More than likely, you're talking too much. Okay? The customer feels like that you're not really listening to them, and what they feel is that you're just waiting for them to stop talking so you can start talking again. Okay? I want you to think about yourself. Stop and listen to what they have to say. And then say, okay, so that's the problem. Let me prescribe a solution. Or, watch this. When somebody's not getting along with you and they have a personal problem, say, would you mind if I had asked you, would you mind if I asked you a question real quick? Sure. Okay, so now you have 6 kids, right? All right, so you need definitely a third row seating. Will there be any more than 6 riding with you most of the time? And what you do is go back to generalization of questions so that they'll do what? Start working dialogue with you again and then go back through it. But if you've got a personal issue with someone, I'm going to tell you, or they have an issue with you, it's probably because you're talking too much and you're not letting them talk, okay? Let's go to number 7, factual objection. Okay, how do I know this is the best for me? All right, now this is something that a lot of people run into. How do I know that this is the best for me? How do I know that this is the best deal? You know what I'm saying? I'm not really sure that I want to do this quite yet. I haven't done enough research on this. Guys, that's a factual objection. I want to share this with you, okay? That objection just means they need reassurance. So when you hear that, don't panic. Be like, man, I'm glad you asked that. And look, 90% of our other customers that have asked that in the past are now sending us referrals because they're so happy. I love that you brought up the same questions that they did, but I'll assure you that, and then you handle it, okay? All right, check this out. General sales resistance objection. This is when the customer's uptight and they're listening with the, and when I say this, they're listening with the closed mind, okay? They're not open to your situations and your ideas and the way that you're selling. They have a very closed mind. You need to get them to relax, okay? Now this right here is number 8. This is the general sales resistance objection. That means this. Just in general, they're resisting what it is that you're trying to tell them. Okay? You know why? Because they feel like, honestly, and they probably have dealt with some salesmen before. Remember I told you guys that we're dealing with the worst salesman in the era of a history of time? Don't be that guy, but that guy's everywhere. So if they dealt with that guy, they have a general resistance because honestly, competence isn't out in the car business right now. Okay? It's very hard to find. There's a lot of people that know product knowledge. You take all your new car manufacturer test, but you don't have any people knowledge and you have no street smarts. Okay? So that's just a normal objection, okay? But when that comes up, just always remind them and say, hey guys, I'm not sure what's happened, right? Or maybe if you've dealt with someone else before that treated you bad. Okay, but I'm not that guy. And I want to share with you this. I don't want, whether you buy or you don't, that doesn't matter to me. I just want to treat you amazing. That's why I got in this business, to take care of people. But I only want to say the car that you buy today, I want to say the car you buy for the rest of your life, okay? Guys, can I get a hug? Can we be family? I'm just going to tell you this, like when I say this, you have got to go overboard and be different, okay? And this is coming from a guy that made $700 to $1 million a year in the car business. I'm telling you, be different, be the 1%er. Yes, I am like no one else. I would like for you to be like no one else. All right, number 9. This is called the last ditch effort objection, okay? This is the last attempt for them to get a better deal. Your customer, the whole time that they're with you, you guys are building rapport together. You have a great relationship, right? You're working through obstacles together. You finally land them on a vehicle, and then at that point, they could throw that last-ditch effort to get out of there before they go inside. That's when it could happen. Or it could be inside where you're like, hey, let me show you a 5-minute proposal you can't say no to. And then when you're there on that end, and you're actually trying to close them, the customer says, you know what? Let us go home and think about it. Or, is that your very best deal? I'm not sure whether we want to do this or not yet, but let me ask you, is that your best deal? That's what I call the last-ditch effort objection. Guys, they want the car, they want to own it. This is where you got to stand firm, and you got to say, guys, listen, if there were to be a better deal to be given, I'd have already given it to you. Again, I don't want to say the car you buy today, I want to say every car that you buy for the rest of your life. All right? And then that's where you go into your assurance clause. So, these 9 objections right here, these are the things that commonly, right, are not talked about. So what happens is we talk a lot about the price is too high, payments too high, I want more for my trade, I need to think about it. But these 9 things are things that we don't surface much and we don't think about. Therefore, we ignore them during the sales process and we wonder why we're not closing at a higher closing ratio. Guys, I hope this helped. Have a blessed day. Talk to you later.